Hello and welcome. My name's Paul and this is Paul versus the Paranormal. Today I'm joined by Rob as usual.
Hello.
And today we have a special guest, Matt, who's going to be talking about his experiences.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Very welcome for being here. And then we're going to jump into the Dyatlov Pass Incident. Right, Matt, so you're going to tell us about your paranormal experiences. So I'm just going to describe Matt first. Matt is, I don't know
Please
how old
do.
you are. How old are you, Matt?
36.
Matt 36, okay.
He's the youngest of the bunch.
Yeah. Not by much,
37 soon.
not by much, so we're all about the same age then. So Matt is, a bit of facial hair. He's taller than I am and he's wearing an
hold on a
orange
second.
jumper.
Why are you describing his appearance? This doesn't...
Because that's how they do on the Uncanny podcast. It's a joke.
Oh, right, okay. So I'm a bit slow on the uptake on that one then.
Oh, we'll scrap that.
Just cut me out and just carry
That's
on.
fine. I'll just leave it in as comedy. Robert being a bird.
Rob?
I'm really 6'7".
Yeah.
Blonde hair, blue eyes,
There we go.
Capricorn.
Rob is a balding 42-year-old middle-aged man with barely any facial hair.
And a massive gut.
You're going to tell us about your experiences, Matt. So the mic is yours.
Thank you. So, two really. A more light-hearted one and a more ominous one.
Ooh.
So, the light-hearted one. And this probably sticks with me probably because it's related to the family. So, when I first passed my driving test, I was gifted a car. And the significance of this car is that it used to be my uncle's. So he lived in South Africa,
Okay.
came over to the UK, and when he did, he needed a car. So my granddad got him this car. He passed away, my uncle. I got the car because it was kind of what my mum was driving beforehand, but let me have it when I passed my test. And he used to smoke in this car. No matter how much you clean that car out, and you did on warm sort of days, there was a strong smell of cigarettes.
Ooh.
Now, it tended to be when I was driving, and I always said, I didn't know he smoked before in the car, so I was told this afterwards. And it was all afterwards when I asked about this. And my mum said, he used to smoke in the car. And my stepdad, who had cleaned the car for me, had said, we'd clean that car out, but on really warm days, you could smell cigarette smoke.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't all the time, but every so often, you could smell like as if somebody was literally smoking
In
a
there
cigarette
smoking.
in my car.
Wow, okay.
Now, I thought that was a nice thing.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing potentially good things in the car, so maybe he was watching me and didn't like that. But
A warning from beyond.
yeah. But, that's a nice one.
Yeah. Well, we like nice ones. Nice ones are good.
Yeah. So,
Now get to the ominous.
the more ominous one. So, I should probably say I do think there is something. Ghosts, entities, whatever you want to call them. This incident, so I used to live in Leeds in a rented house with my friend.
Yeah.
It used to be on 3 floors. And just every so often now it started with taps coming on. We just thought it was just a really old house.
Dodgy plumbing. Yeah.
Yeah. Doors being locked. And I thought, maybe the person I was living with has locked the door and just not told me because we usually leave it open if we were just in and out.
Yeah.
The incident I'm going to reference is one particular night. My friend was at work. I was in my own. And I was in bed and woke up to a really cold, icy feeling. Now, maybe I was dreaming. Maybe I was really tired or just my imagination, but I physically felt somebody pull the covers back and get in with me. Now at the time, I didn't want to turn around.
No.
Actually, bear in mind, I'm on my own.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, my friend's at work. So, who's getting into bed with me?
Yeah.
And I was single, so it's not, you know.
Oh.
But whatever this thing was, realised it shouldn't have been there because I could feel something pressed down.
All right.
Now, I don't know what time of the night it was, early hours, call it, whatever. But whatever this thing was, got up and went. So that very morning, my friend had got home. So it wasn't them. Told them about this. They thought I was just talking rubbish.
Yeah.
But there was something in that house. Now, that was my experience with that. But you always got the sense that there was something just... Now, was it sinister? Maybe. Clearly, I don't know. I never got the sense it didn't want us there, but it was like it was still attached to that house.
Yeah.
But that's probably my most recent. If you know.
Yeah.
And this is from a fair number of years ago, but probably the one that sticks out in terms of the paranormal. Probably the most interesting one, shall I say.
Yeah. It's always while you're trying to sleep that these paranormal experiences happen. And obviously, skeptics, air quote, always use the same reasoning of like hypnagogic state and so forth. But you can tell the difference between somebody being there and imagining somebody getting in the bed with you. You know, you can physically feel the depression on the bed. You could imagine it, air quotes, but you probably haven't. So, you know.
Well, if I was being a skeptic, this was probably winter time. So it's going to be very cold outside.
Yeah, cold air.
Maybe I've just knocked the covers off.
Yeah,
and realised, and I've just been in the same position a long time. Moved, and then somebody's gone. It could have been the bed.
Yeah,
but it just kind of felt like something I've not experienced before.
Yeah. Now, I've slept in beds for many years. I've never felt anybody imaginary get into bed with me. I felt other people get into bed, but not imaginary people. You can physically tell when somebody's got into bed. You know, that shift in the shape of the mattress. You know, it's not just the depression going in; it'll alter the entire mattress. So you'll slightly rock side to the side slightly, because there is that weight depression in the bed. So yeah, that is quite a creepy experience. I probably would have got up and left the room and gone to work as well.
We didn't stay in that house for too long because there was other like instances, like say lights, taps, doors being locked at a particular time. Like I say, that happened on a few occasions where we'd gone and we couldn't just been locked.
Yeah, I mean, taps can easily be explained by dodgy plumbing or pressure changes. They can sometimes set weaker taps going, and lights and stuff, electrical stuff. But you know, without experiencing it yourself, you can always come up with rational explanations. But while you're there and you're experiencing it yourself, you are a better judge of what happened than somebody in an office going, "I'm a skeptic." Yeah, we're not in an office. I'm not saying I'm a skeptic.
So what would be interesting for me is if we do kind of like what it could be, and then it's like debunking it kind of thing. But I think it'd be good to kind of what could it have been, what you know, paranormal, pro and not paranormal. So if I offer a paranormal, could have been, you know, ghost or something coming in, climbing in. You feel the cold, blah blah blah. Non-paranormal could have been the neighbour's cat.
It could have been that girl I was dreaming about.
Yeah. Could have been the girl of my dreams. Oh.
Have you ever experienced sleep paralysis, where you wake up but you cannot move at all?
Not that I've been aware of, no.
You'd know if you have. It's horrendous. I've had it a few times.
I've never had it either.
Yeah, so basically, with me being an epileptic wonder kid as well, I've woke up thinking I were having a seizure, and I wasn't. I was fully awake and alert, but my body was paralysed. I couldn't move at all in it, and it's one of the weirdest experiences ever. But it's not even that weird. I think you could move, but you didn't.
You want to see what were there?
You chose to stay still. Yeah.
Kind of frozen in fear.
And there were times like that when you were a kid anyway. You'd wake up early hours at morning and not want to move. You weren't paralysed with fear, you just didn't want to move.
Oh, no, I remember waking up at night and being too scared to move because I watched something stupid I shouldn't have watched or something, and it's like I'm
Thomas
too
the
scared to
Tank
move.
Engine.
Yeah, Fireman Sam, one of them.
That Postman Pat.
Fireman Sam doesn't get to you in that burning down house. Postman Pat doesn't deliver that letter.
Yeah, that's it.
Jess gets run over.
That's probably the saddest part of the cat getting run over.
Does it?
Well, if a cat got run over, it'd be sadder than not
My-
getting a letter.
My
Because that
cat
letter's
got
a
run
bill.
over out there, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's got run over, yeah. Okay. So now we're going to get into the main part of the episode, which is a Dyatlov Pass incident. Now, those of you out there may already know what this is about. Myself and I know Matt knows about this incident. Robert hasn't got a clue.
No, I don't even know what a Dyatlov is and why you're giving it a free pass.
Dyatlov is... never mind. It's a tragic incident. So we'll probably keep the jokes to a minimal, to be honest. Please.
Really?
So...
I don't know
Really,
if there is
Paul?
any jokes. Is there? Well, I think once you tell the story
Yeah.
and
We can joke about the
conspiracy theories,
He'll-
because there's some
he'll-
stupid ones.
He'll cut everything out that I say anyway, so
Yeah.
you don't have to worry.
This episode's just me and Matt. So, background information first regarding the incident. 1959, Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old radio engineering student at the Ural Polytechnic Institute, led an expedition assembled of a group of 9 other hikers, most of whom were fellow students and peers at the university. The initial group consisted of 8 men and 2 women, but one member later returned due to health issues. Now, each member of the group was an experienced Grade 2 hiker with ski tour experience and would have been receiving a Grade 3 certification upon their return. Yes, I'll say that again. Certification.
Good word.
Yeah, wonderful. At the time, Grade 3 was the highest classification that you could get in the Soviet Union.
I just like that you can actually get awarded a certificate of some sort for walking.
It's a difficult walk.
Yeah.
So they had to, in order to get there, had to traverse 300 kilometres, which 190 miles to those of us that don't do kilometres. The route was designed by Dyatlov's group to reach the far northern regions of the Sverdlovsk Oblast and the upper stream of the Lozva River. The goal of the expedition was to reach the Ortoten, a mountain 10 kilometres north of the site where the incident occurred. And this would have been taken in February, which was one of the worst times of year to do these kind of journeys. So on January 27th, they began their trek towards Gora Otoren. January 28th, one member, Yuri Yudin, who had several health ailments, including rheumatism and congenital heart defect, turned back due to knee and joint pains, which made it unable for him to continue the hike. The remaining 9 hikers continued on the trek. Now, diaries and cameras found around their last campsite made it possible to track the group's route up to the days preceding the incident. So on the 31st of January, the group arrived at the edge of the highland area and began to prepare for the climb. In a wooded valley, they cached surplus food and equipment that they could use on the trip back. The next day, the hikers started to move through the pass. It seemed they planned to get over the pass and make camp for the next night on the opposite side, but because of worsening weather, which included snowstorms and decreased visibility, they lost direction and deviated west towards the top of Kholat Sakal. When they realised their mistake, the group decided to set up camp there on the slope of the mountains rather than move the extra 1.5 kilometres downhill to the forested area, which would have offered some shelter from the weather. Yudin speculated Dyatlov probably didn't want to lose the altitude they'd gained, and he decided to practice camping on a mountain slope. Now, before leaving, Dyatlov had agreed he would send a telegram to the sports club as soon as the group returned to Vizhai. It was expected that this would happen no later than the 12th of February, but Dyatlov told Yudin before he departed from the group he would expect it to be longer. So when the 12th passed and no message had been received, there was no immediate reaction, as delays of a few days were common in such expeditions. On the 20th of February, the travellers' relatives demanded a rescue operation, and the head of the institute sent the first rescue groups, consisting of volunteer students and teachers, later the army and police forces became involved, with planes and helicopters ordered to join the operation. Now, on the 26th of February, searchers found the group's abandoned, badly damaged tent on Kholat Sakal. The campsite baffled the search party. A student called Mikhail Shavarin, who found the tent, said the tent was half torn down and covered with snow. So at this point, you'd think, snow,
Bears.
avalanche.
I'm thinking bears.
It was empty, and all the group's belongings, including shoes, had been left behind. Investigators said that the tent had been cut from the inside out. 9 sets of footprints left by people wearing only socks or a single shoe, and some are even barefoot, could be followed, leading down to the edge of a nearby woods. On the opposite side of the pass, 1.5 kilometres, that's 0.93 miles, to the northeast, around 500 metres, these tracks were covered with snow. At the forest's edge, under a large Siberian pine, the searchers found the visible remains of a small fire. And this is where it starts to get a bit more gruesome. This is where they found the first 2 bodies. Now, these were the bodies of Krivonychenko and Doroshenko, shoeless and dressed only in their underwear.
Brutal.
Yep. The branches on the top of the tree were broken up to 5 metres, suggesting that one of the skiers had climbed up to look for something, perhaps the camp. They also found bits of human flesh in the tree as well. Now, you'd imagine these people not wearing much clothing. Frostbite's going to set in pretty quick. Bits are going to probably rip off. Between the pines and the camp, the searchers found 3 more bodies. Dyatlov, Kolmogorova and Slobodin, who died in poses suggested that they were attempting to return to the tent, which would make sense because you've run from the tent, you want to get back to it to get your cold weather gear. They were found at varying distances from the tree. Finding the remaining 4 hikers took more than 2 months. They were finally found on the 4th of May, under 4 metres of snow, in a ravine 75 metres further into the wood from the pine tree. So these had moved even further away from the campsite. 3 of the 4 were better dressed than the others, and there were signs that some of the clothes had been taken from those who had died first. Dubinina was wearing Krivonychenko's burned, torn trousers, and her left foot and skin were wrapped in a torn jacket.
So when you said they were found dead, what were the circumstances of the deaths? Are they frozen to death?
So a legal inquest was started immediately after the first 5 bodies were found. Medical examinations found no injuries that might have led to their deaths, and it was concluded that they had all died of hypothermia.
Right, okay.
Slobodin had a small crack in his skull, but it was thought not to be a fatal wound. Now, my biggest issue there is if there's no injuries, but somebody's got a fractured skull, there is injuries. You can't just turn around and say, there's no injuries. But this guy's got
one of the 2 naked dudes near the tree. I say naked, underwear dudes.
Yes, I believe it was. Yeah. So I think he died by the fire, probably of injuries more than hypothermia.
So if he's climbed up the tree,
he could have fallen out. Yeah,
he could have fallen and cracked his skull,
which might also explain the flesh in the tree.
Yeah,
he doesn't go into details of how much flesh is in the tree. It could have been a small amount, from his head.
It could be skin off his fingertips and his hands where he's climbing. If it's frozen,
one of the bodies found by that campfire had also chewed part of its own hand off.
Yep, that'll be a pain thing. I bet.
Yeah,
if they're freezing.
Get rid of the dead flesh. Yeah. So an examination of the 4 bodies found in May shifted the narrative of the incident. 3 of the hikers had fatal injuries. Febo Brignol had major skull damage. Dubinina and Zolotaryov had major chest fractures. According to Boris, another long Russian name, the force required to cause such damage had been extremely high, comparable to that of a car crash. Notably, the bodies had no external wounds associated with bone fractures, as if they'd been subjected to high levels of pressure. All 4 bodies found at the bottom of the creek in a running stream of water had soft tissue damage on their head and face. For example, Dubinina was missing her tongue, eyes, and parts of her lips, as well as facial tissue and fragments of skull bone, while Semyon Zolotoyarov, had his eyeballs missing, and Alexander Kolovotov had his eyebrows missing. So the forensic expert performing the post-mortem examinations judged that these injuries happened post-mortem due to location of the bodies in the stream. So I'd imagine wildlife's probably gone at the bodies. So maybe there's not too evil in those death wounds there.
Eyes might be like birds pecking.
Yeah, birds pecking. There's probably, there's probably wolves and stuff maybe. There's one other creature, but we won't mention that yet.
No.
So,
Man, bear, pig.
Let's hope you can pronounce that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The
I'm
full
sure.
name.
I'll try my best. So there was initial speculation that the indigenous Mansi people, reindeer herders local to the area, had attacked and murdered the group for encroaching upon their land. Several Mansi were interrogated, but the investigation indicated that the nature of the deaths did not support this hypothesis. Only the hikers' footprints were visible, and they showed no sign of a hand-to-hand struggle. So thankfully they didn't blame the indigenous people. Although the temperature was very low, with storms blowing, all were only partially dressed. Some had only one shoe, while others wore only socks. Some were found with wraps in snippets of ripped clothes that seemed to have been cut off of other pieces of clothing taken from the dead. Journalists reporting on the available parts of the inquest files claimed that it states 6 of the group members died of hypothermia and free of fatal injuries. There were no indication of other people nearby. The tent had been ripped from within. The victims had died 6 to 8 hours after their last meal. Traces from the camp showed that all group members left the campsite of their own accord on foot. Some levels of radiation were found on one victim's clothing. To dispel the theory of attacks by the indigenous Mansi people, the fatal injuries on the 3 bodies could not have been caused by human beings because the force of the blows had to be too strong and no soft tissue was damaged. So what they're basically saying is they weren't attacked by a person or people. There were no survivors apart from Udin, who left early.
Obviously too early to have seen anything.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So at the time, the official conclusion was that the group had died because of compelling natural forces, whatever the devil that means. So the inquest officially ceased in May of 1959 as a result of the absence of a guilty party, and the files were sent to a secret archive. Cover up. Some cameras were later donated to the Dyatlov Foundation. So there's a museum set up to keep the memory going and all the artifacts from the expedition. They even exhumed some remains of some of the deceased years later for whatever reason, just to check that they were who they were. So I think we jump on now to the possible explanations.
I'm sticking with bears.
Bears. The main suspected reason is an avalanche.
The most likely,
Yeah.
because of the region.
Yeah. It's a mountain, it's snowing.
But to counteract that, why were the bodies still where they were? The snow would have taken them further away.
Exactly. And I don't think there's actually any evidence.
And why was the camp still intact?
No, exactly. Yeah. Well, it was sort of intact. The tent
Well,
wasn't. Yeah.
To an extent, yeah.
Yeah. So the avalanche itself. So there's no real, obviously, I don't think there's any real evidence that there was an avalanche. There may have been small movements of snow, which may have crumpled the tent, which made them run thinking there's an avalanche. And while they're out there running away, they've realised, oh, there's no avalanche. Let's head back, and that's when things happen. But I mean, that would partly explain if some snow did fall on the tent. That would explain possibility of a head injury if it's caught off guard and fallen forward, hit their head on something. But I don't think there's any indication of any blood or damage in the tent. Not that it was ever released on any information. So, I mean, avalanche is the main suspect. There's also something called a katabatic wind, which is a very, very strong wind, which may have blown them over. I've never heard of that before.
No.
It was posed by a Swedish-Russian expedition that was made to the site. After investigations, they proposed that the violent wind was a plausible explanation for the incident. There's also infrasound, which gets blamed for everything from ghosts to hallucinations. Infrasound is beyond the human range of hearing, and it can cause people to hallucinate, feel ill, pass out.
Right. Okay.
It's not something, well, I suppose it's something, if it's concentrated and strong and extremely strong, can cause effects, but normal people probably won't even notice it or feel anything. It gives you that nervous, uncomfortable feeling as well, which maybe if there was infrasound, they may have got nervous. Oh, something's going on, rip the tent out, run off, realised, oh, no, that's not it. It can be caused by winds as well, bouncing off of stuff, causes that low resonance sound. There's also military tests.
Military tests. I have read or seen that there was some of the clothes that had radioactive material on them.
Yeah.
Now, I believe there was a missile testing facility nearby.
Yeah, there was, yeah.
But could that have been that some of whichever ones the hikers might have worked there? Could have their clothes been contaminated? But that doesn't explain if there was a missile testing site, if there was something happening around the time. We know the radiation there.
Yeah, they wouldn't disclose tests anyway. I don't think, to be honest. A lot of secret weapons tests, they won't be disclosed even years later. So,
and it might have been, if that was the incident, they might have done one while these people are out there.
Yeah,
Well,
possibly, absolutely. Yeah.
But would it have caused more destruction depending on what they were testing? Maybe it was a nerve gas.
Yeah, it could have been. I mean, there was speculations of the Soviets testing parachute mines.
Right.
One of the theories suggests that they were woken by loud explosions and fled shoeless in a panic. Which, yeah, if you heard explosions on a mountain, I'd probably be running as well.
Would that cause an avalanche, potentially?
Would also possibly cause an avalanche, yeah. Explosions would shift the snow and cause avalanches. So it could be a culmination of a number of events, which then led to the main culprit of this at some point. Well, we'll get there.
Oh, yeah, there's some crazy ones.
There is, yeah.
But we'll get to that.
So I'm kind of changing my mind about the bears now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, yeah, probably an avalanche where they've had to cut the way out of the tent, burrow the way out of the snow, while the clothes and everything's been buried under the snow. Then they've gone into the woods where the Blair Witch was waiting for them. No, I'm kidding.
Not far off, in all fairness.
I've got a wacky one. Wacky one.
Go with your wacky one first, yeah.
Okay, well, something again that I've read. Now, the Mansi tribe, is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They believed that, and I don't know what type of deer this was, there's a certain deer that they must, hunt, live around them, that in their urine, it is as some psychedelic tendency to it. Now, if you drink this, it can have some effect on you.
Okay.
So this crazy wacky theory is that they've stumbled across this deer urine, and it's caused them all to have a totally acid trip out.
One of Robert's favourite theories for everything: drugs.
Drugs, yeah. I think that's what I accused that.
PC.
Yeah.
PC Godfrey. He was on drugs.
I wasn't accusing him.
No.
You're going to cut this out anyway. But
No,
if you don't cut it out, it wasn't an accusation that policemen do drugs, right? They don't all do drugs.
Only the good ones.
Kojak. I want a lollipop it with a stick laced with LSD. Who loves you, baby? There's no one stood there. He's just talking to an empty room.
Yeah. I mean, the Mansi tribe got blamed for, obviously, as well, but they ruled that out.
Well, another one with the Mansi tribe was that some people spoke to some of the elders and they said that this mountain range known as the Mount of the Dead, I believe so, that it was sacred land. And this would explain, have you discussed the hiker with the tongue missing yet? One explanation for that was it was sacred land and forbidden for women to go to this.
Okay.
Right, okay.
Now, there was contrasting stories with this. Some have said no, it wasn't. But then later down the line, when they spoke to some, I think it was some elder women, shall we say, and they again said, it was sacred land forbidden for women to go there, which would explain removing the tongues. They can't talk about it.
Yeah.
The eyes.
The eye. Well, that was a guy that lost. One of the guys had his eyes.
She eyes, tongue, and a part of her face.
Her face was ravaged. I would imagine that would be wild animals that have done that damage. Though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Come across a body, easy meal. As harsh as that sounds,
post-mortem.
Animals are scavengers and opportunists. They will take the easiest path and the easiest meal.
Just to finish on the psychedelic drug one. The explanation around that, taking all the clothes off, not knowing what's going on, wandering outside, feeling hot, feeling cold. I think that's a very wild one.
Well, there is the theory of paradoxical undressing, which is when hypothermia sets in, your body thinks you're too warm, but you're freezing, so you take layers off to cool down, even though your body's losing heat and cooling down. So that could also fall into it as well. I mean, there are a couple of mundane explanations like high winds. I say mundane, it's not really mundane. But high winds blew a member away and the others attempted to rescue him. They're in a tent. How's one member going to get blown away from inside a tent?
I'm expecting you've got something way more supernatural than the others.
Oh, we're getting there. Yeah. There's also the theory that a romantic encounter left some of the group partially clothed.
I've heard this. I've heard of this.
But
Are we talking a group romantic encounter.
Yeah, we're not. Well, yeah, let's not go into details.
Maybe that's what was going on. Too much to drink, and all of them getting jiggy with it.
Yeah, well, apparently, when it comes to alcohol, the only alcohol they had with them was medicinal alcohol, and that wasn't
brandy.
opened. That was unopened, still sealed in its jar.
That's a psychedelic one then.
Yeah, so I don't think they'd have got drunk. I don't think there would have been a group encounter or a romantic encounter.
I'd read that one of the or two of the parties, one of them was an ex.
Yeah, so
And
Dyatlov's new girlfriend was the ex-girlfriend of one of the other hikers.
so a little bit of friction maybe there.
Possibly. I mean, they were all sharing a tent together as well, so you had 9 people in one tent. It's going to be a bit. Yeah, it's going to be a bit close spaces. But then again, these are people doing the hike for a certification. They're there professional. They're not
By any
there
means necessary.
Yeah, they're there professionally. They're not there to mess around and make life difficult for each other. Now let's get to the supernatural explanations. So, based on a photograph developed after the cameras were recovered, one particular photo, commonly known as photo 17, shows a picture of a grey figure, which believers have stated proves the existence of a Yeti.
Oh, no way.
A Yeti. And they suspect that the force applied against the hikers to kill them and cause the injuries in line with a car crash was done by a Yeti.
And how many pounds of force can a Yeti exert in one hit?
As much as needed for the believers to get it passed off as legitimate. But yeah, I mean, in Yeti and Bigfoot research, Bigfoots they're more powerful than a gorilla, and a gorilla is 10 times stronger than a man, probably. Yeah. I don't know the exact figures. Don't quote me on that. But obviously, gorillas and apes are stronger than human beings, and if a Bigfoot or Yeti is an offshoot of a great ape, they're going to be a lot stronger than we are. So they may be able to. I just picture the Hulk and Loki.
Well, maybe they thought it was, and they've lied down, tried to play dead, and it's picked them up. What's the thing with the rules? If it's brown, lay down. If it's black, fight back. With bears.
With bears, yeah. You just get loud and run off. Don't run off because bears will chase you. But yeah, there is the theory that a Yeti is responsible for it. There is also the UFO theory.
I've heard of this one as well.
Yeah. Now, there's also another photo known as photo number 34, which shows some bright lights. I've seen the photo. In fact, I can get you guys a photo up to show you both those photos in a moment. I don't think it's a UFO. It's the worst photo. I don't know who's took the photo, but it is.
It's probably the moon, isn't it?
There's nothing there.
Yes, there was reports, wasn't there, of a couple of days before that some other hikers had seen some bright lights in the sky.
Yeah.
So
for viewers on YouTube, I expect we'll be able to support the podcast with some images.
Yeah, absolutely. When I get the
if you can ever get
the YouTube version up, I'll pop the pictures in.
Where's the Yeti?
It's the Michelin Man in the background.
Yeah, which I can kind of get why somebody would think that's a Yeti. It's just grey.
Or is it somebody in some?
Although Yetis are white.
Is it somebody in camouflage gear?
It could be somebody in some sort of camouflage.
You know about that bloke in military outfit at back?
Well, it's just a grey blur. There's no real features to it, so you can't tell if a person or not. It's probably just one of the other hikers from a distance.
Pretty sure it's Dwayne Johnson's fanny pack.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't really tell from that photo.
Let's have another look again.
It looks human to me. And it looks like they're
So
just
would a
dressed in a
Yeti?
lot of... No, I mean...
Bipedal
it looks like
hominid?
To me, it looks like somebody with
clothes.
So with pants,
balaclava.
Yeah.
Hiking gear.
Yeah.
He's got that typical
Cold
Yeti
weather
pose.
Yeah. Cold weather gear. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, looks like he's just wearing
Maybe
cold
somebody
weather gear.
spied on the group.
It's blurry. It could be. I don't know where this photo was taken, to be honest.
They have that pose like, you've just gone, "Oi, Paul." And you turn around.
Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah,
Expecting
absolutely.
photo to be
He could have been
taken.
going to the toilet and just been caught in the act.
Yeah.
Or returning from the group love sesh.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh. And this is photo 34. That's a UFO.
Okay. That to me looks like when you take a photo, but you have your hand over the camera or in your pocket and picture yourself.
Pocket photo, the
Yeah.
the pocket lint.
Well, I think I know why they all died out there, because they were putting the balaclavas over the top of the bloody cameras, weren't they?
Yeah.
To me,
And is that recovered from
that's
the groups?
from the photos, yeah, from the group, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
didn't they say that they had the cameras set up facing in a certain direction when they got there? It was on a tripod facing a certain way, as if they were trying to show, look what we've seen.
Oh, okay. Possibly.
That was another
I
one
mean,
that I'd read
yeah,
about.
there's that many theories in that around it. I mean, I don't think that really shows a UFO. That's just lights. And it's just,
The UFOs could explain the radiation.
they could do, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
It could also explain why they've run out,
yeah.
taking certain body parts.
Yeah.
But why the
absolutely, yeah.
women's?
They were telling him, yeah.
Well, the tongue in the eye.
eyes,
Well, that's one of the males.
The UFO theory, I mean, doesn't mean it's an alien. It could be it's just an unidentified flying object. It could have been missiles launched by the Soviets, and they just like, oh, I don't know what that is. It's unidentified to them. And they've never come forward and said, yep, these are our missiles on this photo. It's unidentified.
Photo 34, there is no photo.
no
It's just literally a blank canvas with a couple of spots of light.
It's the
Yeah, it could be
negatives.
anything. Yeah, it could be anything. That's the only problem with these theories is that you can throw 1,000 different theories and you can fit the narrative to fit those theories. You find a photo that looks like a figure, it's definitely a Yeti. Ooh, there's bright lights, it's definitely UFOs.
I think the main ones are the UFOs, Avalanche, or CIA operatives, or Russian KGB.
Exactly, yeah. One of them, Semyon, was he's a KGB operative who's working for the Americans, and they've been caught in the middle of a handoff of information, so everybody got killed for it. There's no evidence of any of that.
No. Although they did classify a lot of the information, didn't they? And then some of it did go missing, from my understanding, when it was released.
I mean, that's the thing. Any other theories that we haven't touched on?
Time travel, we did discuss this, didn't we? What was it?
Philadelphia experiment.
Yeah. Do you want to explain what that is, in case anybody doesn't know?
The Philadelphia experiment was an alleged event claimed to have been witnessed by an ex-merchant mariner, or mariner, however you say the word. Mariner named Carl M. Allen at the United States Navy's Philadelphia Naval Shipyard in Philadelphia. Allen described an experiment where the U.S. Navy attempted to make a destroyer escort class ship, the USS Eldridge, disappear, and the bizarre results that followed.
Have you seen the Dyatlov Pass Incident film?
I have not, no.
So the film, just very quickly, they do the same trip, but in their version, they stumble across a bunker, which would tie in with the Philadelphia experiment, because they then go inside. There's some weird creatures in there that they've been experimenting on that they let out.
Oh, nice.
But then they get trapped in there because it can only be open from the outside. So something shuts them in.
Yeah.
And then when they're wandering through, certain things happen. And they come across, I believe, some sort of wormhole. They go into it. They then get back outside. But then they all then get killed by these things, whatever they are.
Yeah, it's...
Well, funny, there is actually a documentary on Discovery called Russian Yeti, The Killer Lives. And they basically posed the entire Dyatlov Pass incident as being the result of a Yeti killing people. And they basically posed the theories of where this Yeti came from. And some of them, one of the theories was it was a captured Yeti, captured by the Soviets or the Nazis, which has escaped in the Ural Mountains. Yeah, I mean, the whole documentary poses it as if it's definitely the Yeti that did it. It's an interesting watch, but it's way, way far-fetched.
You normally say that it's the Himalayas where the Yetis...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was probably captured in the Himalayas, brought to the Ural Mountains, and then it escaped from a train wreck or somewhere nearby.
Sounds like an Uncharted game.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure it was an Uncharted game.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that covers everything there. So that was the Dyatlov Pass incident and Matt's experiences. That's right. Now, obviously, we did a poll on the last episode, and Lady Ghost Part 2 won.
Oh, lady ghosts.
The episode after this will be the episode that Rob said will be the next episode, which is not this episode, it's the next episode after
Unless
this.
we hold this episode.
No.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, we'll do.
Lady ghosts are wet.
Yeah, Lady Ghosts Part 2 will be the next episode after this. So this was the Dyatlov Pass. I've been Paul, as always, joined by Rob.
Hello.
You can say bye this time.
Oh, by this time.
Bye this time. And Matt, thank you very much for joining us.
Been a pleasure.
I'm sure you'll be on again at some point in the future. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.
I don't like that.
No,
Until next time.
Really.
You need a better one, don't
Yeah,
you? You need a catchphrase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until next time, stay spooky.
No, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Till next time.
Until next time, creep out.
No.
Creep on.
No, creep doesn't mean the same thing these days.
Oh, yeah.
Paul.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, no. Not to these young people.
That's these young people.
Yeah.
Don't get ghosted.
Yeah.
That means something else now.
Yeah, that also.
Yeah.
There's not. You can't say anything spooky without sounding weird.